The World Cup caravan moves to Pune in Maharashtra in that stadium which has no roof, but I suppose the excitement will go through the roof when India take on Bangladesh, a side that's troubled India. Remember, since 2019 India played only 4 ODIs against Bangladesh and India have won just one. It's a team that India will be wary of, especially the left arm spin. I'll come to Joy first. Joy, is there a box that India haven't ticked so far in this World Cup?
I'll just have to say that, given the fact that Shubman just returned from dengue, hit a couple of good shots. But, Shubman Gill is one of our talismans. He's the rising star of this team. And they'd like him to get a few runs, as the tournament goes on. Because obviously missing a couple of matches hasn't helped. So they'd want Shubman Gill to get into form a bit. Their Shardul Thakur / Ashwin story, we want to see which way it turns out, because that's the one thing that people are not decided on. Rest, if you look at it, given what Siraj has already done, remember one thing, and I know you're going to raise that point, I don't think India will experiment. Even if they do, do you play Shami for a match? I don't think they look at it that way. I think they'll say, this is it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the only thing remains Shubman getting a few runs and deciding where and how. Which one do they go with, Shardul or Ashwin?
Harsha, it's not a big ground, short boundaries. Does that discourage India from looking at Ashwin for this game?
I don't know what the surface is going to be like. If it's going to grip even a little bit, then they won't mind playing Ashwin. How many left-handers there? There's Shakib in that side. Look at how many left-handers there are in the Bangladesh team. But I think it will all depend on the surface. If the surface can grip a little bit, then I think they'll look at Ashwin. But at the moment, with Hardik bowling well and Jadeja bowling well, they don't actually need that much of Shardul. Look, it's interesting to see how often Shardul has bowled 10 overs under Rohit. The other day, he only bowled 2 overs. I get the feeling, and I could be wrong, I get the feeling that he's not very confident about Shardul. And so if he isn't, then they might well go with Ashwin. There's a point of view that Ashwin's also the better batter, but I think it'll all depend on the conditions. I would always want to have Ashwin in my side, given I already have 3 seamers and I have a wrist spinner and Jadeja in case Ashwin is not working.
Let's take a look at the Bangladesh squad once again to figure what they can do, because Shakib Al Hasan, their captain, is unlikely to be in action. They will take a call on his availability tomorrow. He's got an injury in his left quad. Does Mehdi Hasan come back for you, Harsha? And how do you go about replacing or filling that hole in case Shakib doesn't play?
You don't fill the Shakib hole at all. You just live with it. You cannot fill that hole because you're losing 10 overs and a top 5 batter. So you don't fill that hole. You just make good with what you have. They might call Mahedi back. The other Mahedi will walk into the side anyway because he's emerging very well as an all-rounder. But if Shakib is not around, it just increases the load on Shanto, on Liton Das, on Mushfiqur Rahim. It just increases the load on players like those. I'd like to see some of the younger players come good. People like Tanzid Hassan and all. They haven't exactly delivered yet. Tawhid Hriday down the lower middle order. He hasn't got as many runs. So if Bangladesh have to make a big move, they'll require one of these youngsters to stand up.
Right, runs haven't come. They won their first game, Bangladesh, and then they lost their second and the third. They're desperate for a win. Runs at the top are an issue. Would you get Mehdi Hasan Miraz to open the innings? Is that an option?
That's something I'd definitely look at. But the other thing I would look at as an attacking option is whatever it is against India with the number of right-hand batsmen we have, you need a left-arm spinner. And I'm really saying Naseem Ahmed, they've got to find a way to play Naseem Ahmed. I don't know exactly, the problem is that if you take Naseem Ahmed as a straight swap for Shakib, do you weaken your batting too much? Yeah. Because that's the problem that they're going to face. Mehdi Hasan is a better batsman. But I think not going in an India match without a left-arm spin bowler is something, because all Indian batsmen traditionally, whatever it is, we've been regarded as great players of spin, but if you look at the record, we haven't played left-arm spin very well of late.
Just a quick look. Sorry, go on.
I agree. I think they should find a way of playing a left-arm spinner, not just standard off-spin. India don't play a left-hander till number 7. So just having off-spinners is not much good. But again, just to come briefly back, I'm just looking, there's 3 left. If Shakib does play, there's 3 left-handers in the top 6. In the top 6-7, that makes a pretty good case for playing Ashwin.
Right, a look at the points table. Let's figure where Bangladesh are after losing those 2 games. They opened the World Cup after winning against Afghanistan. Bangladesh are at 6, 3 losses in a row. Joy, that will be difficult for Bangladesh, because to come back after losing 3 is tricky.
Yeah, I think, look, they just are a team at this point. Again, as I said, we've discussed this. They're in transition. This is that Shakib generation. Mushfiqur, Shakib, they're still there. The only thing is that they have a decent bowling attack. I think their batting, they need somebody like Litton to have a Shakib-like tournament in 2019. They haven't. Remember, last time they did okay because Shakib had an amazing tournament, 600 odd runs. Nobody has given them that kind of runs out there. They need that.
Yes, they play South Africa next, followed by Netherlands. So it's going to be quite an interesting one for Bangladesh. They need a win. They need runs from the top of the order. Harsha, players to watch out for you, one each from both teams.
Yeah, no, I've always liked Litton Das as a player, but he's just going through a dull patch. I hope he's not another of those wonderful talents from Bangladesh that don't become the player that they can become. But I just think going into the tournament with a lot of runs, he was holding up their side. He was an integral part. They have to get Shanto making runs, but also making big runs. Not just a 30-40, but getting big runs, especially if Shakib is not around. If Shakib is not around, then Shanto must stand up. And as Joy said, they must find a left-arm spinner to rise to the occasion. So, yeah, to me, Shanto will be the key. And I think down the order, Mushfiqur Rahim, because they'll need that experience. And he's someone who's a fighter, an irritating fighter, but he's done well.
And don't bowl short at Rohit Sharma?
Don't bowl short at Rohit Sharma. And if you do bowl a ball that's marginally around waist, I don't remember it for the next 8 years.
That scar hasn't healed yet. Joy for you, players to watch out for.
Look, I like Tuskin because I think he does something for them, for the Bangladesh bowling attack. And I think he gives them a wicket-taking upfront pace bowler, and I think they haven't had that for a while with him and Shariful. For once, that attack is looking, the fast bowling attack is looking decent with with Mustafizur following. And for India, I'd just love to see Shubman Gill get a few runs up front.
Harsha, your India player?
Yeah, let's go very briefly on what Joy said. It's not always that you see 3 very decent quicks all playing together in Shariful, Fiz and Tuskin. And then, of course, if they have Mahidi and Shakib and another, then the bowling gets complete. So, as I said, Shakib, a big miss. I think he will use every opportunity to play. For India, I think Joy is absolutely spot on. India need Shubman to get going. And he's at 4 days. And it's a young athlete's body. Those recover much more than elderly presenters sitting at home. Recover much faster. He's had many more days over me, though. He's had many more days over me. But if Shubman can get a big score, it'll make a huge difference. I think he likes playing in Pune. The ball traditionally comes on. It's good carry in Pune. So I think that is the key there.